Hi, good evening, everyone. If you can hear me, can you hear me? Can anyone hear
Yes, we can.
me? Okay, thank you, Didi. So, good evening, everyone. So, before we 5 minutes break, or should I call it break? I have just 86 people present in this Zoom call or on this Zoom call. So, I would advise that you reach out to your colleagues. Remind them if the class is going to commence. We'll get started. So, please try reach out to your other colleagues. Thank you. Okay, so as promised is 5:05, and I can see that the numbers have increased. So good evening again, once again to everyone on the call. It's another interesting day, and it's about to get more interesting, right? As usual, if you're in the class today, right? And yesterday we started with introduction to politics and governance, and today we're going to be looking at the executive. We're going to be dissecting the executive, and of course, our facilitator for today is someone that we're so confident in that is going to do justice. He has been doing this. He's doing this for, I think, the longest time, and it's going to be insightful. So before I introduce our facilitator for today, I just want to remind us that some documents have been dropped on the WhatsApp group, and is to direct you to your party. So please try as much as possible after this call, go through the documents, find out which party you belong to, and ensure that you join the party. Because I think from tomorrow, you're going to start your party activities. So, as much as possible, if you're attending classes, you don't participate in your party activities, you're as good as not even taking the course at all, because it's also a criteria for you to graduate. So, try as much as possible to ensure that you join your party, right? And the ED mentioned that when you're responding to any question later or making any contribution, you're going to mention your name and let us know what party you belong to, right? So the party activities is starting today. So before we go ahead, I'm going to read our facilitator's profile before introducing him. So our facilitator for today is Kunle Lawal. He's a prominent Nigerian political figure and executive director of Electoral College Nigeria, where he leads the charge for political literacy, civic engagement, and democratic accountability. Under his leadership, the Electoral College has grown into a nationally respected platform educating thousands of Nigerians on governance, elections, and citizen responsibility, while strengthening democracy from the grassroots up. A tireless advocate for informed democracy, Kunle's work at the Electoral College includes designing over 27 comprehensive political education models, pioneering candidate debates to curb off jurisdiction promises, and training over 14,000 citizens across Nigeria. His efforts are redefining how young Nigerians understand and participate in politics. Formerly National Publicity Secretary of COA Party, he championed intra-party democracy and innovative membership systems. As a senatorial candidate with the Alliance for New Nigeria 2017 to 2019, Kunle developed 49 draft bills, showcasing a bold vision for legislative reform. He's also the author of Candidates, a reflective guide for aspiring leaders, and formerly led Word Chat Nigeria, using technology to connect citizens with political processes. Kunle Lawal's work continues to inspire a new generation of informed, active citizens, positioning him as one of the well in Nigeria. I know that some of us already know him and find out who really is Kunle Lawal and what does he have to offer. So Edie, if you're on the call, you have the mic. But before then, please, we can use the chat box, use our emojis, and give a warm welcome to our facilitator for today. Edie, you have the mic.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here. First thing I'd like to make very, very clear is Electoral College does not play around with its attendance. Now, it looks like when we're talking about it now, I know what happens at the end, and this has happened at the end 18 times. We'll tell you, pay attention to class, attend class. You wouldn't come. And the few that decide to attend class, you now want a certificate. I will not be granting a certificate. Let me make it very clear. Chocolate knows this about me, and if there's anybody that was in the export, they know it's about me. The college is ready to graduate two. If those two are worth what we want outside, I will give certificates to just anyone. I will not be repeating myself on this. Maybe Lisa and Peace that have it post time. will keep doing that. I won't repeat myself, but I will tell you, I will not hesitate. And I'm repeating this. Maybe you guys think when it's a Nigerian way of doing things, you don't do things like that here. I will not hesitate at any point in time to ensure that you guys that do not attend class or do not get your mates to attend class will leave here without a certificate. So that's our guarantee. Anyway, good day, everyone. It's great to welcome you to the Electoral College. This is your first topic. Today is the executive. So before I start, let me make it a little bit more interactive. I hope you guys have the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint was placed on the WhatsApp. Do you guys have it? You could just signal in the chat box if you guys got it. Did you guys get it?
Yes, it was shared.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Beautiful.
For sure.
Okay. So in a nutshell, I'd accept a few hands. They'll raise a few people that will raise their hands, and they'll tell me. They'll maybe tell us what they understand by the executive. But I only give you 30 seconds. I don't want something very long, something you can't listen. So you can just raise your hand. Feel free in class. There's no wrong answer. We're all learning here. So just on peripheral, what exactly is the executive? What do you think the executive is? Please, could you help me on mute? It's two guys. And I don't know. These are two guys. So the women are waiting for reserve seats or what? Anyway, we'll have that
Oyini.
later.
Okay.
Oyeni.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening,
Okay,
everyone.
Go ahead.
good evening.
Yes.
Good
So when
evening.
we talk about the executive, we are talking about the arm of government that has the power to execute control and function. The
Okay, thank
execution
you
of
very
control and
much.
function.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Adejumo. Adejumo.
Good evening, sir. My name is Ali Johnson from the People Party. Executive is an arm of government that has a role to execute law and maintain order in the society, in the states. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Odom. Wait. Odom.
Godom is not there. Just move on now. Please, let's keep this quick. Could we have I saw a girl's name up,
Yeah.
Jessica or
Yes,
something?
Odom is up.
Good evening, everyone. My
Good
name is
evening.
Odomolomachi Vicentia from APC. The
Okay.
executive is the arm of government that enforces, implements, and they ensure that laws are being carried out in the government. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay,
Abdullah.
so proceed and please, you can put the hands down now. Proceed.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead to define the executive, and you guys, you put quite an effort at it. So the executive, its primary function of the executive, or the primary function of the executive is to enforce laws, maintain law and order in the state. And now state refers to not states which are think of Plateau, Kano, or Jigawa. States, territorial boundary. It could be local government because the executive functions at three levels, which is local, the federal, and the state. So the primary function is to enforce laws, maintain law and order in a state, and execute governance on behalf of other arms of governance. And the other arms, of course, are the legislative and judiciary. So that's the primary function of the executive. Now, if we go through this, we now have to go to the functions of the executive. First one will be enforcement of law. Now, fairly everybody knows who makes laws in a democracy. In the chat box, of course, we know it's the legislative that makes laws. So legislative makes laws, but the task of enforcing these laws or putting these laws into action, like I'll give you an example. Let's say tax laws, they are approved at the National Assembly but executed by the executive. Another key thing is appointment making. Now, appointments are being, I'm sure this is the one we enjoy. All of us, are trying to be SAs or PAs to an SA or SA to the Baba to the state governor or, etc. Different things that we want to be. Some even want to be ballot snatchers, official ballot snatcher for the governor. And anyway, that's still an appointment. So appointment making is vested in the executive. I'm sure you guys know this. For people in Cross River State, I'm sure under Ayade, you felt the appointment situation very properly. I believe um, Governor Professor Ben Ayade had over 2,000 aides. And I'm sure everybody's cousin was appointed in Cross River State. No offense, but small job to Cross River State. Defense of the state is also vested in the executive. Now, state governors normally argue that they can control police or whatever. I don't normally entertain that argument because here's the conversation. If you as a journalist write something against the state government, we all know what's going to happen next. The state governor is going to use all his resources to act, or when it comes to local government elections or local council elections, state governors use machineries of the states to ensure that their candidate wins or etc. But when it comes to terrorism or banditry, all of a sudden state governors are powerless. That's I don't get the correlation. And the funny thing is that most of them take those issues in their state take up to 6 billion in security votes. So our state governors have a lot to discuss. We have a lot to discuss about the state, but we'll get there. Now, foreign policy making is also a function of the executive. Now, foreign policy making is at the level of not local government and not state government, even though somebody like Professor Ben Ayade had essay to Sao Tome and Principe, if I'm right. Oh my God. Anyway, let's not discuss that. Oh, Ben Ayade twice. I don't dislike him that much. It's just a good example when you're talking about this. So foreign policy making is left for the president, and that's highest level of executive in the country. This depends. Now, most of us, I'll say in 1963, the then Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa announced that Nigeria was non-amalgamated, and that's our foreign policy, meaning we do not support the East or the Western Bloc. The Eastern Bloc being China, Russia, now the usual suspects, those they blame for all the wars. Everybody blames. We are the Eastern Bloc. And on the Western Bloc, we have Britain, UK, Europe and Co. So Nigeria is not amalgamated. Nigeria's position in foreign policy changes to, negotiate and to, engage with everyone equally. We don't support any group or any other position. Now, financial functions are also vested in the executive. Now, appropriation of funds is vested in the legislature, but execution of these funds is vested in the executive. Please do not mix them up. Appropriation. So the executive writes a budget, presents it to the legislative returns the budget back, approves, and gives it back to the executive. Then the executive can spend that money. That's how it works. So financial functions are also vested in the executive, not for appropriation, but strictly for what they call it, for execution of spending. Now, grants of titled honors are also given to the executive, be it whatever, an award on an MON, GCFR, OON, Order of the Niger, are presented by the president. There are other state awards at different levels, and there are local government awards, though we do not tend to key into this a lot. Now, there's a difference between governance and politics. And I always, everybody tries to have the conversation and think politics and governance are the same. They are not the same. I'll define politics is the vehicle in which you head to, that is the vehicle that takes you to political office, be it legislative or executive. Now, governance is the way and manner power is exercised in management of the country's human and economic resources. Now, that is vested entirely, governance is vested entirely under the management of the executive. They are not the superior, the three arms of government, but the management is vested in the executive. I think It's key for us to understand this. So there are two types of executive: appointed and elected. So the first ones who are elected, a clear example of them are at local government level: chairman, vice chairman of the LG or the LCDA if you are in Lagos, or the municipal area council if you're in Abuja. That's at the local level. At the state level, you have the governor, the deputy governor. At the state level. At the federal level, you have the president and the vice president. Now, appointed executive at the local government level, we have secretaries of council, we have PAs to whoever, local government chairman, vice chairman, whatever, PAs, whatever, you know the whole thing, the whole 9 yards on that level. At state level, we have commissioners. So at local government level, we have secretaries of health, secretaries of works, secretary of, just like you have commissioners at the state level. So at state level, you have commissioners, you have director generals of parastatals at the state level in the state. Those are appointed executive SAs and PAs to the governor and the deputy governor. Then at the federal level, you have DGs, you have executive secretaries, you have ministers. They are appointed. So appointed those you do not, of course, go into election for. Now, it's critical to note, who knows how many ministries, departments, and agencies federally in Nigeria has? Does anybody want to guess here? You could just type it in the chat box. 42. Ministries, departments, and agencies. Okay, 42. Are we going with 42? Any other answer? $30. Above 100. Okay. I said how many ministries, departments, and agencies do we have in Nigeria? 46, over 500, no problem. Over 30K. Who is iPhone? People are still writing iPhone at 1334. Don't come and tell us you attended class, because we'll tell you didn't attend class. 943, too numerous. Nigeria has a little bit above 1,500 ministries, departments, and agencies. About a little over 1,500. Xiaomi too is, oh my God. Is it that you guys don't what do you call it? You guys don't understand when you're giving documented rules and anyway, no problem. So how do you achieve a functional executive? First and foremost, one of the key things you need to do to achieve a functional executive is the separation of powers. Powers are clearly separated by the Constitution. Who does what and how they do it, and what checks and balances they have. So for you to have a functional executive, you must have the separation of powers at any level, be it at local government level, which we discussed, at state level, which was also recreated, or at federal level, which we're used to discussing. There also must be decentralization of duties. Now, the federal cannot manage everything. It cannot manage security, cannot manage health. It has to break it down to the states. States have to break it down to local government. Any time one person takes from the other person or tries to seize or co-opt a person's, we are bridging the kind of governance being delivered to a particular set of people. And that is critical to what happens. Secondly, we clearly need to be held. They clearly need to, for a functional executive, they need to be held to accountability by the legislative. An executive cannot function well without a clearly thought out executive. And that's the truth. Without a clearly thought out legislative. And we've seen this happen so many times in hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So Sorry, I'm trying to go back to the Zoom. Something happened and I kind of moved out. Okay, so the general thing is that the legislative has to be able to hold the legislative accountable. Anytime this has happened, anytime this has not happened, it is very hard to achieve, how would I put it? It's very hard to achieve good governance. And here is why. Powers of execution vested in the executive do not allow any other person, does not allow any other person that's any other arm of government or government to perform effectively if the executive has taken over everything. There must be checks. That's why when a what they call it, when a what they call it, the when a legislative is called rubber stamp, it 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 really upsets kind of or breaks.
Okay, sorry everyone. I think we lost Edie there. Let's just give him a moment to join us back.
Hello, please. Sorry for that. Can you see my screen?
Yes, you can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry for that. So we need to be held to accountability by the legislative. Next will be the rule of law. Now, the rule of law, we all are this basically following the constitution and the guidelines for operations of every arm of government. Now, this is critical for us to be able to have a fully functional executive. The next thing, which we never remember, planning. For you to be a functional executive, you must be able to plan. In 50 years, what are we going to do? In 20 years, what are we going to do? In 10 years, what are we going to do? Not the kind of planning, hey, we're going to do Cali Air, not, hey, can I do again? Okay, let me not visit that. Oh, we're going to make Kogi into, the ports they are going to dredge it and we never do anything. Or we're going to get our doctor steel mill running. Those are not planning. Should be able to plan at what rate, how are we going to move people out of poverty? This handouts that we're giving, how long is it sustainable? This fuel subsidy that we're giving, how can we mitigate it and still provide our people with affordable fuel? The country has to be able to plan, see ahead and think outside the box generally. So there are ways you can enhance a functional executive. And these are a few I mentioned here. The first would be participation. Now, the problem with most of us is we do not want to participate in governance at whatever level. We don't want to participate. We want the largest, we want to enjoy, we don't want to question, we don't want to work in those parties, we don't want to hold them accountable, we don't want to volunteer, we don't want open governance open governance in government. We do not ask for, even though we have the freedom of FOI bill, we do not question things that are supposed to be happening. But we enjoy, we sit down in our saloons, in our beer parlors, and whatever, and we have conversations and we keep saying things. You hear somebody saying, hey, Desiani stole, let me give you an example. Desiani stole $150 billion from Treasury. Oga, madam, if you take out $150 billion from Nigeria's treasury, none of us would have started eating ourselves. You know, all these fictitious, I'm not saying Desiani, I'm not holding for her that she didn't take money while she was a minister. What I'm trying to say is the exaggerations, the unclear truths. We need to be able to participate. Leave that. Everybody tells you go and vote, go and vote, go and vote. I feel that's the dumbest thing to say in a democracy. Voting is the least functional thing. I've always said publicly that we don't yet have a democracy. We have a selection because you don't even know how did Gregory appear. You do not know. He just appeared in a Labour Party. How did on your mandate appear? The delegates you do not know. We just pick him. He's the new face for APC. Serial runner, how he used to appear. Now he's probably going to appear in ADC, making it about 6 parties he has appeared to in the last 20-something years. But chairman is just going to appear. You're not part of the process. You're not anything. Then you now wait. When they pick them, you now start fighting. It's Gregory. Gregory is better. Our mandates, we're wearing the cap. Serial runner, he has been serially running because he loves this country. When you start your fights or whatever, and those with Kwankwasia, hey, this. Kano votes enough to make Kwankwaso win presidency. With the number of scholarships he has given out, you jump on the conversation. That's not participation. And I don't think that's a democracy also. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. That's not a democracy. And that's not participation in democracy. So join a political party, be able to argue the conversations, be able to be part of something, be able to do things, that are part of it. So that you could part of the whole process, so that you could actually pick your leaders. Another thing is accountability in budgeting and planning. Now, most of us do not know our FAC allocations. I heard somebody that was talking earlier yesterday who was bragging about, I'm into politics. Into politics where you don't even know FAC allocation and you say you ran under local government. So what are you running for? What were you running for? You don't even know what the FAC allocation to that particular place is. So what were you running for? You cannot query your local government chairman till you know the exact amount he's receiving. You cannot query your governor until you know the exact amount is coming into allocation. You cannot query the president on any matter if you have not studied what the budget is carrying to whatever sector and how it is being used and whatever and what minister does what. So it's critical for you to follow these processes. And you're not doing it because of me. We're doing it because of next generation. You're doing it because even if you don't care about yourself. Do you understand? Care about the next generation and how much they have to do to get things done. Now, thirdly, we must create financially unattractive offices. If we do not create these offices, Lisa, Didi.
Yes, you did.
Martha Agba wants the link to this class. Please send the link to her.
All right. I'll do that.
Thank you. So, financially unattractive offices. We must make these offices financially unattractive because only when these offices are financially unattractive that we would have people that want to participate. Not when senators going home with 42 million, even though their salary has been 500,000 since 2011, but they go back home with an allowance package of more than 42 million. House of Reps about 36 million a month. Massive. How do you expect somebody with 36 million to start to write bills or start to give oversight? These are conversations we're not having yet. And then what's the freedom of speech? Now, freedom of speech does not guarantee. So this is how freedom of speech works. And in Nigeria, everybody will come and have my opinion. I don't believe. You don't have your opinion. Because this is how it is. Most of you sound like, this is the best example I always use. So because maybe you supported one party in 2023, to you are into politics. Or because you voted once, to you are into politics. Let me tell you how you sound most of the time when you are discussing things and how some of your faves also sound. You know, if a mechanic is allowed into a labor room when his wife is about to give birth during a C-section, he's not allowed into the labor room and he watches the whole process. 2 years down the line, is the mechanic allowed to operate his wife, his sister-in-law who needs a C-section? Of course, no. But that's most of us don't even understand that even though we are granted freedom of speech, the freedom of speech is not guaranteed when it infringes on someone else's constitutional rights. You just open your mouth, I can open it. And and regurgitate, so the average Nigerian has probably IQs less than their underwear sizes. But they don't think when it comes to having a conversation because you just want to talk. No basis, no thought. And I always argue this. So freedom of speech is, yes, you can talk about things, but do it with the greatest decorum you could do it with. Next will be understanding by the electorate of elected office jurisdiction and powers. A governor cannot come and tell you I'll fix university. It is not his jurisdiction. And I'll give you local level is vested with primary healthcare and primary education. State is vested with secondary schools. The federal is vested with highest what they call it, post secondary school education or higher education, which involves polytechnics, technical schools, and universities. You need to understand these conversations. People will be asking funny questions that don't matter, and they will be telling you what they they know they can't do, but because they think you understand it, they think. So the executive is the steering rudder of governance, and decision signals development or degradation in a country. Thank you very much. This was a short class. I'd rather take questions. For me, the executive is quite an easy, straightforward conversation to have. So, Peace, I think over to you, and then we can have conversations on what actually is
Okay.
what and what is what.
Okay, thank you so much, Idi. Thank you for doing this again, the 19th time. So if you have any questions, as usual, the way we started yesterday, just indicate by raising up your hand. And if you're where you think you cannot speak or it's probably noisy, you can use the chat box, drop your question, and we'll read it out. We'll be picking those with the hands up and the questions in the chat box. Okay, so we already have Joshua Morolayo. Joshua, you can unmute and ask your question. Okay, if Joshua is not there, let's have
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, can you hear me, Edie?
Yes, we can hear you. Good evening.
Okay, thank you very much, Edie, for your presentation and your contribution to the good governance.
Ibrahim Umar.
Yes, Ibrahim Umar, yes. Okay.
Go ahead, Ibrahim. Ask your
Okay.
question.
Edie, you talked about the executive being appointed in the both the local level and the state level and the federal level. But my own is the what level, like councillors, councillors. Is it the same thing with the local government chairman? Because some areas of some weight, there's election for councillors during the local government elections.
Ibrahim, today's class was about the executive. Your class next week is about the legislative. That's when we'll discuss councillors. Councillors are legislative, they are not executive, which is why I've not discussed them.
Okay, Edie, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so please, anybody asking a question, others are waiting, right? You have 30 seconds to ask your question. Joshua, okay, you're still not available. Let's have Stephen Abanubi. Stephen, are you there?
Good evening, Edie. Yes, I hope I'm audible enough. Thank you, Edie,
Loud and
for this
clear.
class. My question, okay, I'm Stephen and I'm NNTP. My question is if the ED can throw a little bit more light on how the military, police, and paramilitary are controlled under the executive, because I know when he's talked about that, he was a little bit open, saying, okay, the governors can claim they have control or they don't have control. Could we kindly just talk a little bit more about whether those can be classified as executive?
Okay, thank you.
The paramilitary is directly under the executive in Nigeria. The truth is, they should be under the the executive. But in other countries, they have the umbrella of the judiciary. So I'll give you an example. The DSS is supposed to be domiciled in the Attorney General's office. Our police is in Ministry of Police Affairs. Immigration is in Interior, and vice versa, just scattered around the executive, which is why the executive controls law enforcement. And when executive controls law enforcement, we've seen under Buhari, we've seen them go arrest what they call it. We've seen them go arrest judiciary. We've seen them go arrest. That's why they can do it. That's not supposed to happen. So I've always said there should be a thin line between how we operate as a country to reduce powers, excessive powers on the executive. I think it's a conversation we should be having in this country. Why the executive can control or will control the DSS, move the police at will, and the judiciary, who are the custodians of the law, who are supposed to give them the right to move, cannot give them the right to move. I think it's a conversation we should have, but Nigeria just kind of has it a little mixed up.
Okay. Thank you so much, Iji. So we have a question from Oluwadamilare in the chat box. How about freedom of speech? How about freedom of speech from a religious perspective, especially the type that encourages or incites violence against other groups? So I don't really get the question.
I was critical. I don't know whether maybe people want me to spell it in ABCD, but I said critically, I said your freedom of speech is only guaranteed as long as it does not infringe on the constitutional rights of another individual or citizen of the country. I was clear. So it answers your question, which clearly means you cannot make such statements in the country. I was very clear about it.
Okay. Bong Sylvester is saying, good evening, Edie. Please, is allocations data published? Yes.
Yes, it is. I think if you check state of states with budget, or I've forgotten, you can Google it. It's available.
Okay. So then we have Omar Tony Ianga. He's saying about the creation of office that are financially unattractive. What momentum will be used to run the office? Should I take that again, Edie?
Let me break this down so that you understand what I'm saying, because it seems some people assume I speak in French sometimes. If political offices are made financially unattractive, people will do the work they are supposed to do. I understand you have been given Cerilac with corruption, so you cannot envision that offices can be unattractive and they need money to run. Money to run what? Your brain to run management is now money to run. If you have enough money to feed your family and send your kids to school, please, what kind of money are you looking for? The former prime minister of Norway, I think he was still teaching in school while as prime minister. Is in Norway, the one that rode bicycle out when his tenure expired. I think it's Norway, I can't remember. Norway has a GDP more than 3 times that of Nigeria. You don't need finances to run an office. That is a false hoax I don't know how to. Okay, Netherlands, thank you. It was a false hook, and I don't know. You need 36 million a month to deliver what? Do you know the salary of a US senator? And a US senator drives about a massive number of bills in um in um in a year. What Nigeria turns on in 4 years is what they turn on in 1 year. Yeah, our senators and our National Assembly earns far more than they do. So what are they talking about? I cannot even comprehend the fact that you think they need momentum. What I don't want to discuss it, please. I don't like answering questions about, don't make mutual sense. But please, let's have another question.
Okay. Taiwo Aderoju, you can ask your question. I've asked you to unmute. Okay. If Taiwo is not there, let's have Saula. Okay.
Hi,
Taiwo, go
hi.
ahead.
Okay, hi, good evening. Apologies. I don't know my
Have
answer.
30 seconds, please.
My question has been answered. I've actually put that in the chat box. Thank you. Thank you. I'll put on my hands now.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So we have Sola. Okay. Sola.
Good evening,
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
30 seconds.
My question goes like, is it compulsory? Like,
Please, can you
the
speak up? I can't hear you very well.
Okay, I said like the executive, the way it's being run in the state level. Like if, for instance, the state governor is going on a trip to the United States, for instance, he must take a leave of absence from the House of Assembly. Is the same thing applicable to the executive chairman at local government level? That's my question.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's supposed to be. When we have councillors who have not even read state laws or who do not even understand the constitution, how do you want to enable that? How do you want to even guarantee that? And before you start blaming the councillors, I can bet you're 185 here. I can bet not up to 5 voted in local government elections in their states. So what are you telling me? We are all it's a relay. We are creating the kind of governance we have.
Okay, thank you. Victoria. Victoria.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good
I'm happy to see you. Yes. So he was saying that we shouldn't, that there is rumors of people maybe discussing somebody embezzle money and the allocation and that if you don't know what is being allocated, that don't talk about it. So one thing that do confuse me concerning this allocation fund embezzlement, some will say they will be arguing so amount was given, some will they counter the argument that this. So I don't know, is it that rumors or insider do leak information of certain amounts? Because at times we are not really clear whether who is saying the truth. They will argue on some embezzlement. At the end of the day, we will not really know whether to challenge them or not because we don't really know the truth. So is it that they do, somebody have already asked whether they do publish it or not. You said maybe we should Google it. So the aspect of knowing what to say is what I'm not really clear. I need clarification.
Victoria,
Yes,
thank you very much. Victoria, every park allocations are published monthly.
okay.
It might take 3 months for you to see the one of 3 months ago. Are published online officially. These are things you can find. States are how much is given to states is public information. All this is public information. So what shocks me in Nigeria is, as what they call it. Chioma wore this dress in when she was getting married to Davido. You know how much Davido spent in his wedding. You and me are fighting. Portable second wife likes him and doesn't want to leave him. If you know all these things and you do not know that allocation, then for me, you don't call yourself a Nigerian. Just throw your passport into the sea. Because it's the information you are choosing to pick that you think is important. And I'm not talking to you when I say Victoria, I'm talking to all of us who are guilty of this. we do not pay attention to what we should be paying attention to. We do not understand what we should be understanding, and then we blame somebody else. You don't pay attention. Nowhere in the world do they write a book and say this is how much you spent and put it in your hand and say carry it, read it, come and argue with us later. It doesn't happen anywhere. You have to think and you have to believe that this information is yours, is vital to you being a citizen, and is yours as part of that constituency, local government or state.
Okay, thank you, Edie. Arizi, you can unmute and ask your question.
Okay, thank you, Edie, for the questions. Please, my name is Arinze, and my question is, as we were talking about the executive, how is it that the process with which they actually assume those offices, especially when it has to do with character, how do we really vet these things? Because in my mind, every time I think that is when you have money, then you come out for something that is more, more big. And most of the times we have seen their failings. How do we checkmate these things before they get there? Because I heard of you talking about the
Let me
process.
let me ask you a very critical question. Arinze, if I came to you now, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
If I came to you, Arinze, and I came with Uber, came to your house, knocked on the door, and sat down and told you I want to be president of this country, you vote for me? Yes or no? Don't explain. Yes or no?
Well, the question doesn't have a direct.
No, don't do that. You are not Arinze. No double answers. Your answer, you've already given me your answer. You've given me your answer already. Arinze, this is how it is. You give me your answer. So let me tell you the truth that you don't want to tell yourself.
Okay.
The reasons politicians drop in election is because you are collecting. That's the thing. If there were no men soliciting women on the streets, there will be no women on the streets. Same with politics. If people were not collecting bag of rice and accepting monies and whatever, politicians will not give it. That's the truth. So when you say you're not looking for somebody's character that is good, please help me explain. When you expect me to come with a G-class and a helicopter to come and tell I'm running for president, I'm going to borrow and I'm going to steal to ensure that happens, so that when I get back, I'll recoup that money and return it. So make it a cyclic effect. Do not just say, how do I want to understand the character? Understand your own character first as a voter. Then the fact you just answering that, Mr. Arinze, tells me a lot. Because you couldn't give me a straight answer. You're like, that's not a straight. Why? It's a very straight answer. If you asked me, I knew what I was saying. But that is the average guy.
The question you asked me does not actually has to do with
does not actually what?
No, how the person came does not actually matter for me personally.
It does. No, it does. And I'll tell you why you didn't answer it. It does. Okay. Marisa, I'll tell you why you didn't answer it. You didn't answer it because for once I turned around the table and you saw yourself as the politician. Because the conversation is this. You cannot tell a good politician if you yourself are a bad citizen. That's the truth.
Why I actually ask this question is because I have an uncle that's contested and won, and he didn't have anything, but people believed in him, and he served only for one term.
Well, we're not saying it does not happen.
Yeah. So
we're not saying it does not happen.
Because he borrowed very
Arinze, we're all here to learn. We're all here to learn. Arinze, I'm not saying it does not happen, but that is let's say 3% chance in 100 in Nigeria, and we both know that. And that is because the average Nigerian student demands a particular amount of finances for you to run for office. That's the truth.
Okay, thank you, Edie, and thank you, Arinze. I gave you more than 30 seconds, which is not fair. Oyeni. Oyeni, you can unmute and ask your question. If Oyeni, okay, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Edie, for this wonderful masterpiece. So I want to talk about the local government election, because during the last local government election in Kwara State, a lot of us actually came out and we wanted to vote. I even came out as a contestant, but fortunately for me then, the Labour Party was not, like, the Labour Party had candidate, but were not able to be on the ballot box because of the issue of the national chairman that was happening then. But I realized that even though people came out to vote and everything, people were not able to vote, and even the Kwasek then did not bring enough ballot paper to each of those polling units. We don't know why. And so let's say, for instance, if you are 500 in a polling unit, they might bring maybe just 100. Then before you know what is happening, they disenfranchise a lot of us. But it was not so during the general election in 2023. But the local government election always tends to take a different route. And sir, please, I don't know why it's always like that when it comes to local government.
It's like that because Nigerians don't care, first. Second, we don't even participate. And like I said yesterday, local government does not give us up to 7% of voting population participation in Nigeria. We don't care. I would say, to protect local government autonomy, yeah, I'm one of those who pushed for elections to be taken back to INEC, so that we can have a more structured and less government controlled election. The bill is on the floor of the House right now. Well, that's the way we are thinking of working outside that prison, so that local governments could be more autonomous. But a lot of things, yeah, look, I think in Ekiti, was it Ekiti or Oshun? I can't remember. Local government elections. I can't remember Ekiti or Oshun. Sometime back, I think about 2010, 2011. It was APC, yes or no. That was the available, that was on ballot paper. APC, yes or no. I'll look for it somewhere. APC, yes or no. No, they didn't allow any other party to participate. And to us, we are cool with it. So I think we're just as guilty in what's going on. But there could be ways to solve that also. Somebody's complaining that we're not reading the questions in the chat box. I think we're reading the questions. Maybe you don't think it's because we've not read your own, but I think we've been going through the questions here. People just want the question answered immediately, and I think we've taken our time to go through that. Please,
Edie, don't worry, I have
over
that
to
under
you. What are you
control.
doing next?
Doreen Nero, you can unmute and ask your question.
Okay, thank you. My name is Doreen Nerutmu from APC Group. My question is, when discussing the roles of the arms of government, I understand that the higher institutions are within the jurisdiction of the federal government. So how can we explain all the universities, secondary, tertiary institutions that are under the state government? And in the case whereby most of our power distribution is like scattered, I feel while we're discussing, I see a lot of immodalities in it. What can we do as citizens aside all this holding responsibility and all that? Is there any form of society or something or arrangement we can do to make sure that power remains where it's supposed to do, like separation of power and
Doreen, you know that this is a long class of 28. After today, you have 28 more modules.
Yes, sir.
I think by the end of the 10th or 11th module, you have all the answers to your questions. You guys should not try to take everything you want to take now. Let's focus on this particular topic. Do you understand? Because all these questions will be answered. I know the situation, that all these questions will be answered. So just let's deal with the class that we're dealing with here now, and then all these other questions will be answered. So you said your name is Doreen Nenrotmun. Wow. Oh, did I get that right?
Yes, you got
Menrotmun. Menrock Moon. Ah, that's the first. I've learned that name now. I'm very proud. So thank you very much, Doreen.
I'm happy, sir. Welcome.
Mm,
Okay, so we have a question from Robert. You still haven't changed your name. Robert Obeya Abga. Why is the executive arm of government more powerful than the other arms of government?
Because they have the word execute. It's there in the definition, execute. Execute is a verb. A verb is an action word. An action word is stronger than other adjectives that qualify stationary movement, stationary operations. So execute, verb, action word. Simple. That's why.
Okay, so we have another question from Samuel Ogwola Amos. Sir, what are the jurisdiction of any time by the elected executives? Did you get
What
that,
are the
Edie?
what? I didn't get it. Peace, you've gone off. Lisa, are you there?
Yes, I am.
I can't hear peace again.
Yeah.
Who is the double for her?
Charlie, are you there?
Where is Jennifer?
Please, we really cannot hear you. Let me just stand in. Okay, we have Oluwaseun. Oluwaseun, I've asked you to unmute.
Hello, can you please hear me?
Yes, you can.
Okay, good evening. I'm Oluwaseun Jonathan Awolomate from APC Group. The other
Can you
time
talk louder,
that
please?
I said I'm Oluwaseun Awolomate Jonathan from APC Group. The other time you are talking about enhancing a functional executive. The first, let me take the point I'm asking my question, which is point four, which you said freedom of speech. You later conclude your stay on the freedom of speech that freedom of speech can be done and can be achieved by doing it in the greatest decorum. So my question goes thus: how can freedom of speech be achieved in a country where the masses are voiceless? Thank you very much.
Who told you the masses are voiceless? I have a question. Who told you the masses are voiceless?
If Thank you very much, sir. The reason I concluded that the masses are voiceless is that anybody raising any contrary opinion to the government and then to the result of the way of the masses, either the person is being shut down or the person is being shut up by any means
Ah,
from the government.
okay. I've done, wait. That's your own view. I've done interventions which have affected local government autonomy. I've done interventions which have affected the way electricity is being distributed in Nigeria. Now states are able to generate at least up to 5 megawatts or close to 10 megawatts now in power before they move to the national grid. I've done all that and nobody has shot me. So what are
Okay.
you talking about? No. I don't like when people make blanket statements. It's not right. You're saying I've been in interventions since preceding Occupy, let's just say about 2010 till now. We stopped the social media bill. We've done a lot of work. So who has shot me? Nobody has carried me to jail. I've never worn handcuffs. So what are you talking about?
Let me start a little bit.
If your idea of speaking out or talking against the government is going to go and burn something or shouting or doing one thing, Buhari has been a bad boy, what do you expect? They'll respond with the same thing. So change,
for
add
example,
strategy. There's no for
yeah,
example. Don't say that. I'm not an elite. And I know why I shut down these kind of conversations. I'm not an elite. I was born to two lecturers, normal family. I was not born into it. Maybe because I run for office, you think I'm elite. That's why I have a voice. No, I don't. So don't say the voiceless are voiceless. Who is giving you that kind of thing? Is it VDM you are listening to? Please stop this. Because that's rubbish. Factless, baseless rubbish.
the major reason why I say that is that at times when we are having
I've told you in
that
this class, if you're going to make a statement, it better be backed by facts. Do not come here and tell me what you feel. I don't want to know what you feel. I'm totally unconcerned with your emotions. And that's the truth. A lot of people have been, even
Okay.
budgets. Please don't cut me short.
I'm always with you. I'm always with you.
So it's just for me, generally, I just think we should adapt better ways of having
Please, are you back?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I think Ilya has gone off.
He's still here. He's still here. I think you can call the next question.
Okay, but his mic is Mr. Chibong. Unmute and ask your question. Ma?
Okay.
Israel.
Good evening. Yes. Good evening. Good evening, Edie and everyone. My name is
Go ahead.
evening.
Israel
How
Achibong.
are you?
My name is Israel Achibong, Abga. There's this in section 306. Well, first, before I ask my question, Edie, I must really say that I am really inspired with the class and the lecture you've shown us, at least explaining briefly about the executive, and I've learned so much, and I'm inspired with almost of the comments you've said about free speeches and the rest. But I have a concern, and that brings to my question. Section 306 of the Nigerian Constitution actually gives immunity to just 4 persons, and that is between the federal and the state executive. And my concern is, what happens to the local government, which is actually the root of
Well,
every
I think, Chairman, I think I said yesterday clearly more than twice that at the local government level, there's no what they call it. There's no immunity. Do you
Yes, I know,
understand?
but they are part of the executive, ED. Is it that they cannot be included, or it's just something that will maybe in time we'll get to adjust that? That's just my question, ED.
Okay. Um, for me, I stated yesterday that, like you said, it provides immunity to just a few, but what they call it, the local governments do not have immunity. Do you understand? Hello, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm with you. I'm with you, ED.
The local, yeah, those performing at local level. So immunity is only granted to executive at state and federal, and this thing is not taken. Do you understand? There's no immunity at local government level. So the conversation is they are not granted immunity because they are the closest to you. So you see what they do, you see how they do it, and you can query their actions best. But we don't take such actions in a democracy.
Okay. Thank you, ED.
Mm.
Okay, thank you, Edie. So we have a question from Oluwashola Jude. Do you think the appointment of commissioners by governors promotes good governance, or does it encourage political favoritism?
Who do you want to appoint commissioners to work with a governor? I don't understand the question. Of course, there's no other way. That's the way they can function because it's their government. They're elected to serve the people at that executive level, and they must appoint their commissioners who will help them achieve it. That's what it is. It's the way it is. It's not about good governance or bad governance or left governance or right governance. It's just the way it is.
Okay. Okay, so Ono Wareke Brian is saying, sir, please, if we have knowledge of the budget and allocations, how do we take action? Do we complain on social media?
There's a class for that. I won't entertain that question because going outside the jurisdictions. First and foremost, there's a class for that. Secondly, there are clear-cut ways in which you can engage governance. It doesn't mean going to social media platform. That's not even a method of engaging them. Why don't you openly ask for a town hall with the person or the person you are focused with, or why don't you file in a case, or you could go as far as querying financial people who are financial agencies, financial investigative agencies to have these conversations.
Okay, Isa Yerima, you can unmute and ask your question.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful presentation. My name is Yerima Isa from New Nigerian People Party. My question is regarding policy making as one of the function of the executives. Can other arms of government like the legislators also make policy? Secondly, you made mention
No,
of, that's my first question. Secondly, you made mention of the executive order, so I need more clarification on that.
executive what?
Executive order.
So first and foremost, whenever the executive comes out with a policy, those policies are also being reviewed sometimes by the National Assembly. They can't just put out a national policy like that. So there is a check when it comes to policies. As regards your second question on executive orders, now the executive orders are granted to the executive because sometimes and in some situations, expedient action needs to be taken. But no matter what executive order a president or a governor gives, it's still subject to the ratification of the State House of Assembly or the National Assembly.
Thank you, sir.
Or the council of, or the local government council of councillors.
Okay, Ojo Okinwale, ask your question.
Okay. Yeah, good evening. My name is Ojo Akinwale from the Labour Party. So mine is on the ministries and government agencies. I've noticed that as governments come in and go, we have different ministries. Some are newly formed, some are part of the one that have been existing. So we have several ministries now that many of us don't even know some of their functions. So is there no law that can say that probably these ministries and government agencies should be standardized so that no one comes in, or is it based on the manifestos of the incoming government that you form some new ministries and council?
No. So that jurisdiction is based in the power of the executive, and as long as that office is ratified by the legislature, then it clearly means there's no option, because both of them must agree for it to happen. So anytime a new ministry is created or a new whatever is ratified by the National Assembly, ratified by the State House of Assembly, or ratified by the councillors in the local government. So the legislative must grant ratification to it, because there's no appointment even that is not ratified by the legislative. I'll give you an example. Like INEC now. President has appointed a new chairman, but it's subject to ratification by the National Assembly. And that's the way it always works. So if you can get an executive and a judiciary whose head are on the ground and decide to do what they need to do, then we can get things done. I think that's the way it works. That's the way it should work. But if their head is not on the ground, they can continue creating ministries and departments. That's why we always tell you, do not vote top to bottom. Know who you are voting for legislature, know who you are voting for executive. But we used to vote top to bottom. That's how some people have entered office.
Okay, so we have a question from Rosalind Fuki Lazarus. She's saying, from today's class, there are two types of executives,
No,
elected and
peace, you
appointed.
jumped. Peace,
So
you jumped.
those appointed,
Peace,
what yardstick is being used?
peace,
Merit,
peace. Where are you getting
favoritism
this question from? Hmm?
from the chat.
Peace. Well, I didn't the question. Anyway, repeat it, please, because I wanted to look at it.
Good. Um, from Fuki Lazarus,
Mm-hmm.
Roslyn Fuki Lazarus.
Mm-hmm.
From today's class, there are two types of executive, elected and appointed. So those appointed, what yardstick is being used? Merit, favoritism, or just party balance? Because some office holders are being appointed into offices without merit. Does the Nigerian constitution permit that? Because I think it is a problem.
Well, the problem starts with who you elected, because the jurisdiction of the executive covers that to be able to pick his appointees. And like I said, which is the same question, the same answer I just gave, as long as that appointment by the executive, which is always ratified by the National Assembly, or in the case of a governor, by the State House of Assembly, or in the case of a what they call it, in case of a local government chairman, ratified by the councillors, as long as they ratify it, there's nothing. Nigerian constitution allows it. There's nothing you can do about it. So be careful who you vote into executive. That's the only way to work around it. I just explained that thing.
Okay. Then we have a question from Jessica Agom. She says, are the levels of government coordinate units or subordinate units? And what is the
No. You
importance?
skipped, please. You skipped something, and it's from Uluwadari. I was waiting for Damilari. I was waiting for. I disagree with ED. These things I observe and see daily. Are we here to be educated or be politically correct in questions and conversations? That one hasn't experienced. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Perhaps ED can find another way to impart the important knowledge we came here to learn. Some of us are here because we see real issues. The man who just spoke so didn't make baseless statements. You see, I keep telling people that they are limited to how they think. So if you have a situation in Saminaka, you will say across Nigeria's entire expanse of land, it is what happens in Nigeria. I didn't say there was no what he said doesn't exist. But I clearly stated that his approach you cannot say Nigerians are voiceless. I will not agree to that. And that's because I've seen a lot of things, I've seen a lot of steps, I've seen a lot of decisions being made. You just wake up and think you can disagree. It's okay. All that, Jamira, pick your time any day, any day, anytime, any place. Sit down and face me and we can have a conversation. And I will give you 90 or 900 places this has worked, and you will probably bring your 50 situations because it's like that anywhere in the world. So you don't just open your mouth, think that because you are all here and you have a time with me that you have access. You're even telling me I'm politically correct. Which statement have I made here that's politically correct? None. It's just that I'm asking you to function within facts. And if you find that so hard, I won't find it hard to expel you. And I'm making it clear. Trust me. You can think anything you want to think of me. I've done this too many times, walked around too many situations to tolerate your what they call it. This is not a negotiation, and this class is not a democracy. We're teaching you democracy, but the class is not a democracy. We brought you here with our funds and our costs, and we're putting a lot of money into you. If we feel you are not worth it, we'll throw you out of it. And we don't hesitate to do that. Can continue, please. Okay, since peace is not here, Lisa, are you there?
Yes, it is.
We can have Olua
Okay, I'm
Timilen.
back. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Okay, Oluwatimileyin, you can unmute and ask your question. Okay, Oluwatimileyin, since you're not there. Okay, before Kabal asks his question, Jessica, please, can you drop your question again? I missed that because of the network in the chat box. So Kamal Saidu. Okay, Kamal, if you're not there, let's have Ishaku. Daniel.
Can you hear me?
Good. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so Kamal, let's have you ask your question.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, good evening all. First and foremost, let me appreciate the effort of the facilitators of this program. Actually, we are really planning, and also it's very inspiring. And I have a concern, even though this issue happened like 3 years back. I want to ask a question, please, sir. Is it in the decision of the local of the state assembly, state assembly, to suspend a chairman, a local government chairman? Because it happened in my local government, I think, in 2022, when the state assembly they made the bug that they have suspend the local government chairman, that's the local government chairman. Even though later on he was sent back. Thank you so much.
So naturally, you're not supposed to be able to suspend a local government chairman. But in some cases, concerning massive financial impropriety or concerning monies handed over by the state to the local government, which is under the purview of the State House of Assembly, because all money is appropriated by the State House of Assembly, they can suspend the sitting local government chairman.
Okay.
Did you notice it was not impeach, it was suspension? Impeachment
Yeah,
is left to councillors. Yes,
yeah.
they have. But if it's a financial case, they have the power. And this is a legislative question, Chairman. let's stick to the
I'm sorry,
executive.
sir. I'm sorry, sir.
No, but I answered it. It's okay, I've answered it. But I just told you it's a legislative question.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the humility.
No problem.
Oluwatimileyin, I've asked you to unmute. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ma, and good evening, everyone. So I wanted to mention that it's been an insightful session so far from answering the question. So the question I technically have was something you glazed over, that in order to fully participate, you have to join a political party. So in order to satisfy my curiosity and further my interest, that's why I'm taking this course. And there's many controversy at that political parties, and I don't know which one to join or exactly how the process is. I would love to ask you pointers on informed decisions on which party to join and how to actively participate when I join this party.
I want you to remain on the first and foremost. I don't know what your dream is for Nigeria. So I cannot say you should directly go to one political party or go to another political party. All I will tell you is that the strife you are going to go into in the APC, you are going to see in ABGA, you are going to see in NNPP, you are going to see in Labour Party, you are going to see in Zenith Labour Party, you are going to see in ADC, you are going to see the strife, the stress, moving on. Political parties are relatively easy to join. Just Google the political party you choose. So it depends on what you want from Nigeria. Do you have a left-wing thought process? Do you have a right-wing thought process? Are you far left like every Nigerian that just wants to abuse or talk or think he's smart? Are you far right that just thinks you are fully politically correct? Those are things that, I can't influence. And I cannot, as ED of Electoral College, I'm strictly non-partisan. I represent a non-partisan, non-partisan organization. And my office does not allow me support or point to any political party as better to another. Do you get? But what I can tell you is that the constitution of political parties are all available online. You can look at the constitution, look how it works, think of what state you are in. Do you understand what do you want to build a party? Or do you want to walk into the incumbents, work hard, be recognized, and go into governance? There are multiple choices. I can just open them up for you to see, but I cannot tell you which one to go into. Is that okay, Oluwatimileyin?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. That was very, very explanatory and clear. If you would permit, I have one more question. I don't know.
Okay, sorry, we would only take one. We have
no, okay.
Okay, so essentially, right, my interest lies in law and policy, and I'm a final year law student. So like interest in law and policy, and to like be in policy making sector. So like, what's the process like if you're like treading that path?
It took you some time to answer that. I'll tell you, it isn't easy. Nigeria's problem is not um policies. I think Nigeria has one of the best policies on any level in the world, be it health, be it security, be it corruption. We actually have more laws in corruption than most countries in the world. Our problem has always been implementation. So if you go into policy, I would say you should go into the aspect of trying to see mitigate the factors that do not allow um, our policies work. Is that okay? You start there. I noticed someone saying she raised her hand since.
Yes,
Please,
sir.
can you grant?
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
sir. Thank you very much.
no problem. Can you grant Deborah? Though I
Okay.
can't see her hand actually.
Okay, please. There's a question before that. Maybe before I look for her in amongst others, we have a question from Jessica, on which I started reading earlier. Are the levels of government coordinate units or subordinate units? And what is the importance of local government autonomy in relation to the levels of government?
I would say ordinate units or subordinate units. Is that what she said?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so no level is subservient to the other level. They are not independent of each other, but they're operationally functional to their constituencies. So you can't say local government is subordinate to state government, and you can't say state government is subordinate to presidency. And it's kind of a hard thing to explain though, because in Nigeria there's been a lot of abuses according to our constitution a lot of abuses on our constitution on this function, but none, as the constitution will, is subordinate to any. They all serve within their jurisdictions and can work cohesively, not subordinate to another. Hope that answers that.
And what is the importance of local government autonomy in relation to the levels of government?
Can she wait for our class in local government tomorrow?
Okay. Okay. Benedict Ilya, you can
Yes,
unmute
sir.
and ask your question.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening. You guys should rush up with this question. Getting late and everybody's getting tired.
Okay, sir. My name is Benedict from Adamawa State. I belong to the APC group. My question here is, recently the governor took wives of the 21 local government chairmen to Turkey on a workshop. So my question here is that, does the constitution allows the executive to spend money on such workshops from the state treasury directly? Is he in the constitution? Or
Wait. I made something clear that
yes.
appropriation budgeting is presented by the executive. I made it very clear. Budgeting is presented by the executive, but appropriated by the legislative. Meaning the legislative that say this is good, this is not good, this is good, this is not good. And then returned back to the state for execution. So if the governor is executing it, trust me, the State House of Assembly appropriated that fund. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. So it's not only the handwork of the governor, it was
It's
a
not.
collective.
Yes, because if the State House of Assembly throws it out and rejects it on the state budget, it will not happen.
Okay, so I thought the governor was executing it on himself. Thank you, sir, for the enlightenment.
No,
really
it's not. No, I explained that. No, it's not.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mm.
Abdullahi Yusuf, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hey.
Please, how are you calling these names?
Good evening.
Go ahead, Abdullahi Yusuf. Good evening.
Thank you, sir.
The question is this accountability of a thing that what happened recently on Arise National TV with this man Omai and Sheung, and you said this accountability should be on legislative. So is Sheung a legislator that question that man like that? Is it appropriate?
Chairman, how do you want me to answer this question? Because if I say accountability is and appropriations given to legislative, it doesn't mean people in the citizens of the country cannot ask questions. That's not what I said. So don't put. And besides, for me, Rufai and Umai are too stupid. Let me not say what I want to say. They are both funny people because this was my position. If Umahi did not give us data and Rufai was instigating him and we didn't get any information out of it, then the two of them have failed in both their capacities as the media and the minister in question. Because we didn't get anything. We got a shouting match. So that's what seems to turn Nigerians on. We don't care about what actually we should have been getting. So for me, it was a disgrace, or a symbolic disgrace on the part of both men. I would like to take Dotong Utibia Bashi. I'll take his question. I've asked you to unmute.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
And thank you for the opportunity. Okay, my question goes to the executive for majorly now the governors and the appointed executives. So elected executive being the governor and then the appointment. So the governor makes appointments, majorly commissioners. And from what I've seen so far, so good, I can say that the commissioners are majorly people who played a role in ensuring that he becomes governor, who played a part. But then the issue is that at the end of the day, they put round pegs in square holes just for the sake of, should I call it political compensation. So in a case where the appointments have been made already, aside that of the Minister of Science, which was very obvious and he could not deny it, let's assume there was no problem, no challenge, and then let's say they made a lawyer, for instance, commissioner for health. What process can we follow to tell the governor, no, this cannot stand? That's my first question.
No. At that point, you have no say because you entrusted the governor with that decision. That's what you did when you voted him in.
Oh,
Do you
so
understand?
we can't question the governor or
No,
write to
the
him
people,
to.
the people that yes, so the people that can question the right to his choices, you have also given that power at the State House of Assembly.
Okay.
You have relinquished your power by voting for both of them. One to make choices and one to make checks on the choices this one makes. So if two of them agree, bros, it's a lost game.
Okay, so then my second question is still on appointment, but this time around, the issue of ad hoc committees. So sometimes we see a lot of ad hoc committees spring up and we don't even know what they are doing.
Utibe, you've already give the governor has that power. Constitution guarantees that power. And even in the legislative, they have ad hoc committees. You gave them that power. You cannot take it. It's what comes with the office. So the decisions on whether they have too many ad hoc committees or too many running too much on funds, you have given him the power when you voted for him. You have no say in it. You can shout and complain about it, but legally you can't take them to court over it. You will lose because when you voted them in, you gave them that power.
No. Okay. We have a question from Deborah. Deborah, please, if you're raising your hand, you're not to raise your hand in the chat box, right? I see you saying you've been raising your hand, and I didn't see that. So Deborah is saying, my question is based on policy implementation. I would like to ask why the executive often struggle with effective policy implementation, despite having vast powers and resources. Just curious.
I don't know how to answer that one. It depends on the competency of who you voted in. So if they are struggling with policies and doing what's right, it's who you voted in and the league he came in with. I can't. It's not a question I can answer, but I know the root cause of it. So the competency of whoever you voted and etc.
Okay. Then another question from Ike Virtue Amarachi. To what extent is the Nigerian executive truly independent, considering
What kind of questions are these?
the powers of appointment and removal it exercises over other?
Who are you as executive independent? What they are independent now. So is legislative. The Constitution guarantees that. I've said that clearly multiple times in this. Is it that people just want to hear me say a particular sentence? I've said it clearly. They are independent in their decisions, independent in their operations.
Okay, Saifullah Ibrahim Waziri. Unmute and ask your question. Waziri.
Thank you very much. I don't know whether if I asked a question earlier on the chat. I don't know whether it was answered because I went out for prayer. I wouldn't want to, so that it will not be a repetition.
Quickly repeat the question, please.
Okay, sir, my question is as regards the grouping that was done for the pseudo parties. I searched and searched and couldn't find my name. Yes.
Lisa,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa, yeah.
Yes, I am, Adrian.
Lisa, that's your department. Please reach out to Lisa on you notice I think she's admin and have that conversation. Okay? Okay, it's gone off.
Okay. So Ishaku Daniel Ngyang.
Dropped her question.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Edie. Thank you very much for this insightful session. My question will be very brief. It's about the emergency rule that just ended in Rivers State. We watched that the president made the pronouncement and also appointed the administrator before even the issue was taken to the
National Assembly.
Yes. So my question is that an abnormality or there is a clause where it can happen the way it did?
Number one.
That's my question.
Number one, in no case should the president suspend a governor. It's unconstitutional. This is not to say that the president does not have the powers to declare an emergency rule, but the president does not have the powers to suspend a governor. The National Assembly, on the other hand, can suspend the governor on financial impropriety and a few other things. But if the case was ratified by the National Assembly, it puts us in a quagmire because our constitution has never seen that happen. So it's kind of like a lacuna. Do you understand? So there is no law that supports it, but there's no law that doesn't support it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's a very tight place to be. Is this Shaku there?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I'm with you, sir. I got
so the
your
fact the president even acted before the National Assembly already is unconstitutional and is grounds for impeachment. But
wow.
Well, you know the deal. I don't need to tell you. On our mandate, we shall stand.
Thank you very much, Edie.
No problem, sir.
Ichoma Kalu. You can unmute and ask your question.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. So my question is regarding the fact that there are people who have chosen to work in the CSO, this civil society sector, right, to help, well, things like educating the electorate, right, on their rights and all. And my question would be, if someone who works in a CSO, for instance, is able to also join a political party. I mean, of course, CSOs are supposed to be apolitical, but is a staff of a CSO, right? Is it okay, or is it allowed for a staff of a CSO to join a political party and make political decisions in their own personal space? I believe that's the question. Thank you.
I believe there is no law against that, Ijoma. There's totally no law against that. where the laws where there seems to be conflict of interest is when those statements actually emanate from maybe an executive director, a communications person of the CSO. That's where you then have a problem because it will now seem like you are playing uh, partisan politics in your conversations. So there's no law against it. You just can't have key staff in a CSO being part of a political party. Is Ijoma still there?
Yes, she just used a thumbs up.
Okay, okay, no problem. Thank you. Final question, Xiaomi. Okay, no attendance. Don't blame me.
I don't know who this person is. Xiaomi, please unmute and ask your question. Xiaomi.
Hello. Good evening.
Go ahead. Good evening.
Good
Thank
evening.
you. Yes, I'm from pseudo PDP. I
I
actually,
don't know who you are. I'm just answering the
my
question.
name is Moses.
Your name, that does, we don't
Moses.
want to know what your name is. You can't expect us. We told you yesterday, these names that you people have as your phones, just know that you missed last class and you missed this class you're inside. Because it's recorded it's automated. We can't start taking record of. We told you guys what to do, and you guys are refusing to do it. I
Sorry,
don't understand. You can ask your question. You don't even
I
what?
don't even know. I don't even know whether that Xiaomi they are calling. I didn't even know whether it's my name because I can't remember
It's
registering
your
with
name.
actually.
That's all we are seeing. We are seeing the name of your phone.
So
Xiaomi
maybe it
2409
was
BRN2C. That's not our problem. The people that have their names here,
no.
they didn't do it wrongly.
My name is on the list. Moses T.
Oh,
Unwa Okuku. That's my name. But
that is
I'm
not
just wondering why.
Oga, you are not listening to me. You are attending a Zoom. The name that is showing, you can ask any of your classmates, is Xiaomi. We are not going to record any attendance for Moses. Get that clear. So sort this out. I'll answer your question, but sort this
I will
out.
check. I
Can
will
you?
check it maybe after the class. I will check it. I'm just
Okay.
knowing it now. That's what I'm telling you.
That's
I'm
what
just
we
knowing
are
it.
seeing. Or you ask, or somebody should tell him in the chat box. Please, is anybody seeing a
No, since
Moses
you
or
are,
you're
I'm
seeing
not
Xiaomi?
disputing it. I'm not disputing it. Since you are telling me, yes, I will check it
Mm.
after, but I'm not aware.
Mm.
So
Okay,
I thank you
then.
for
There are
that.
even some of your classmates
Yeah.
are even telling you can change it now, go to your settings on Zoom and edit your display name.
Yes, I
They're
will do
telling you
it
now, they're
after.
saying you.
I will do it. I will do it after the class. So we are here to learn, and my question may sound maybe somehow to some others, but it is aiming at conscientizing or giving us an orientation. So this is the question. As an elected executive or appointed executive, that your aim is to be close to your subordinates or your supporters. So what and what are you going to put in place to make sure they feel the impact of your closeness?
I think what's most important is that the problem in Nigeria, and I think it has been the biggest problem in Nigeria, is the distance between the elected and the governed, or the appointed and the governed. The more you reduce that distance, the more you'll be able to interact, be able to interface, and be able to know what the people want and try to solve their problems. But what happens is
Okay,
once we win elections, we enter a cocoon and we disappear and we're away from everybody else, and there's massive distance. For me, that is the biggest problem.
so as an aspiring leader, what are we going to do? What can we do
I
to
just told
curtail
you the
such
distance.
situation?
Cut the distance. That's what I've told you. Cut the distance. Always be available. Go back to your ward, your constituency, or wherever you're thinking of running once in a while, get to sit down with the people. You can attend the wedding, attend the naming ceremony, sit down with them, organize a town hall, tell them what your visions are, let them know, hear what their visions are, and then have a collective, unified vision. Be able to do things like that. That's what you should do.
Sorry, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel.
Hello, ma.
Go
Good
ahead
evening.
and
Can you
ask your
hear me?
question. Yes.
Okay. My question is that my question is that a governor as an executive, does it has a constitutional right to appoint a local government chairman that are being called a supervising chairman under him? You know, a chairman too is an executive as well. A chairman too is an executive
You
as
know,
well. Does a
if you
governor
notice,
has?
when Emmanuel, when they appoint such
Yes,
people,
sir.
they do not call them chairman. They call them supervisory.
Yes.
They
Supervising chairman,
don't
yeah.
because they do not have the power. So it's an interim thing till elections is being done. It's not, you can't. They don't have the power to do that.
Okay, because it happened, it's really happening in those states. Why sometimes some years back. But the
I
thing
know it's not
is
only
it
on those states,
constitutional for
multiple states.
is it
Yes,
constitutional for
in a
a
situation where
governor?
they maybe have a problem, in a situation maybe they had a problem with elections, in a situation where they do, but it's
Okay.
supposed to be an interim thing, 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, and get to elections. The problem is
But
that governors do
this
this.
is more than 2 years. It's more than two
Yes,
years.
now you've
So I'm
hit
saying
the
it's more
nail
than,
on
so
the head.
that's
What
what raised my concern.
Emmanuel, like I said, they
Yes,
can
sir.
do it 2, 3
Yes, sir.
weeks or whatever. And I said, when they extend it longer, that it has become tenure, then it has become a problem. And the people are the ones to complain about that because they're being denied adequate representation.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Because,
No problem,
Okay,
sir.
so thank you so much.
Thank you.
okay, last question, Abdulaziz. I thought he has asked the question before.
Abdulaziz Mohammed, you can ask your question.
Yes, my question, good evening, sir. First of all,
Good
my
evening.
question is that about the appointment of the INEC chairman currently now in Nigeria. Why is the only state executive council do so while we have the both state houses, Senate and representatives? As we all know,
According to Abdulaziz, according to the laws of Nigeria, appointment of INEC chairman is done by the president and sent to the Senate for ratification, which is where it is right now, sent to the National Assembly for ratification, which is where, and once the National Assembly, Senate and National House of Rep ratify, then he becomes the INEC chairman. That is the mode of appointment of INEC chairman. That's not any different. It's the way it has always been.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you so much for Edie for responding to the questions and for the insightful class. I don't know, maybe you have your last words.
No, I'm not taking any last. I think Lisa needs to talk to the students.
For us before we go,
You need
before we
to.
call it a day.
So, yeah. So, can you hear me, Lisa? Are you there?
We can hear you, Edie.
Okay. First and foremost, I think you guys need to understand that your parties, you are all responsible for how you operate within your parties. If your party has a default in attendance, you will be penalized. That means you should try and get all your party members to attend class. Your assignments will be done. You receive an assignment on Monday or Tuesday to submit on Friday. And I think there's more should be done with, how people coordinate themselves within this cohort. There are rules and regulations; those should be put down clearly. Those are there clearly, and they should be done. But the people that are still Techno Spark 8P and etc., don't come to me and tell me that you're what they call it. your attendance was not recorded. We don't know who Techno Stack 8P is and whatever. So I'll hand over to Lisa. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely evening.
Okay, Didi, are you there?
Well, in the interim, it seems she's not there. So I think we'll just close the class. So guys, see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I don't think you should be reminded there's class 5 o'clock. It's just Friday to Sunday, 5 o'clock. We'll see you guys and we look forward to conversations and being more politically literate. Thank you very much for your time and look forward to class tomorrow.